A man does not become afraid of losing you when you cling tighter. He becomes afraid when you no longer cling at all. There is a quiet shift that happens when a woman stops chasing, stops explaining, stops trying to manage another person's emotions. Not because she is tired of love, but because she has returned to herself. And this return changes everything. The air around her feels different. Her presence is calmer, denser, harder to predict, and infinitely harder to replace. Emotional stability is not coldness. It is containment. It is the ability to remain whole even when someone else is uncertain. And this is where attachment deepens. Not through pressure, not through constant reassurance, but through the unsettling realization that you are no longer dependent on being chosen. A man senses this before he can explain it. He feels it in the way you respond instead of react, in the way you do not rush to fix tension, in the way silence no longer scares you. This kind of self-respect creates a psychological tension far stronger than control ever could, because it confronts him with something rare, a woman who will be fine without him, but who chooses to be there. As Carl Jung believed, the unconscious responds more powerfully to what is lived than to what is said. A woman who embodies her value activates something deep in a man's psyche. Not fear of punishment, but fear of loss. Loss of access. Loss of significance. Loss of someone who cannot be manipulated through guilt, urgency, or emotional chaos. Chasing teaches a man that you will always return. Stability teaches him that you might not. And this is where attachment becomes real, because now he must choose. He must regulate himself. He must rise. Your calm becomes a mirror, reflecting his effort or the absence of it. And no amount of pressure could ever produce the effect that self-possession does naturally. This is the beginning, not of distance, but of gravity. Control feels powerful on the surface, but psychologically, it erodes attraction. Pressure creates compliance, not devotion. And the unconscious always knows the difference. When a woman tries to secure a man through monitoring, emotional leverage, or constant availability, she unknowingly sends a dangerous message. I am afraid you will leave. And fear, no matter how softly disguised, never creates safety, it creates imbalance. The man may stay, but something in him loosens. Respect fades first. Desire follows. Emotional stability does the opposite. It removes the need to dominate the bond. You are not watching his every move. You are living your own life. Your nervous system is not tied to his moods, his speed, his indecision. And this independence awakens something ancient inside him. The awareness that access to you is not guaranteed. In Jung's view, attachment deepens when the psyche encounters a figure who is complete in herself. Such a woman does not beg to be chosen. She does not collapse when uncertainty appears. She observes. She feels. She remains grounded. And this groundedness forces a man to confront himself. Because now, he cannot relax into entitlement. He cannot rely on chaos to keep you engaged. He cannot withdraw and expect you to chase him back into relevance. Your self-respect becomes a silent structure around the relationship. It teaches him the rules without ever stating them. You respond instead of react. You don't punish, you reposition. And this is deeply unsettling for a man who is used to emotional control being rewarded. Here is the paradox. The more emotionally regulated you are, the more emotionally invested he becomes. Why? Because stability creates contrast. Your calm highlights his inconsistency. Your clarity exposes his avoidance. And suddenly, he feels the pressure, not from you, but from himself. From the risk of losing someone who will not bend, bargain, or beg. This is when attachment stops being automatic and becomes intentional. This is when he starts to think before acting. This is when he feels the weight of consequence. Not because you demanded it, but because you no longer need him to choose you in order to choose yourself. And that realization is far more binding than fear ever was. A man does not fear losing what he dominates. He fears losing what remains sovereign. When you are emotionally stable, You are no longer predictable in the way insecurity makes a woman predictable. You don't escalate. You don't collapse. You don't chase clarity from someone who is confused about himself. And this unpredictability is not chaos. It is maturity. It forces a man to stay awake. Fear of loss is born the moment he realizes you are not anchored to him, but to yourself. This is where many women misunderstand power. They believe that intensity creates attachment, long conversations, emotional exposure, urgency, constant presence. But intensity without grounding only creates exhaustion. Stability, on the other hand, creates orientation. It becomes a psychological reference point. He knows where you stand, but he does not know how far he can drift without consequence. And that uncertainty is crucial. Your self-respect introduces a limit he did not expect. You don't threaten to leave. You simply don't tolerate erosion. You don't announce boundaries, you live them. And this forces his nervous system to recalibrate. Because suddenly, he is no longer the emotional center of the relationship. He becomes aware that your world continues with or without him. Your mood is not governed by his availability. Your affection is responsive, not guaranteed. This awareness creates tension, not the destructive kind, but the binding kind. The kind that awakens responsibility. Because now his actions matter. His absence has weight. His effort, or lack of it, has consequences. A woman who regulates herself does something profound. She removes emotional inflation from the bond. There is no drama to distract from truth. No emotional chaos to hide behind. No endless explanations to soften reality. And in that clarity, a man sees himself more clearly too. He sees when he is lazy. He sees when he is avoidant. He sees when he takes without giving. And this is where fear enters. Not panic, not jealousy, but existential fear. The fear of losing access to a woman who cannot be destabilized. The fear of being irrelevant to someone who is not afraid of solitude. The fear of realizing that love is no longer automatic. It must be earned. Your stability becomes the axis around which the relationship either matures or collapses. And that is why a man becomes more attached. Not because you held tighter, but because you let go of control. Because when a woman stands firmly inside herself, a man must decide whether he will rise or step aside. And that decision is the foundation of real attachment. A man becomes afraid to lose you at the exact moment he understands one thing. Another woman cannot give him this. Not your beauty, not your attention, but your emotional structure. Many women are affectionate. Many are available. Many are intense. But very few are emotionally sovereign. And sovereignty is what creates imprint. Because it cannot be copied, rushed, or negotiated. Your self-respect removes you from the category of options. You are no longer interchangeable. You do not compete. You do not perform. You do not bargain for closeness. You contain it. And this containment is what makes his attachment deepen in a way that surprises even him. He notices it in subtle ways. You don't ask where you stand. You observe how he stands. You don't demand reassurance. You register consistency. You don't fear pauses. You use them to listen inward. And suddenly, the dynamic reverses. He begins to feel watched, not monitored, but seen. He becomes aware that his patterns are visible. That effort matters. That absence is felt. This awareness is uncomfortable, because now, he cannot hide behind charm or ambiguity. Your emotional stability creates a psychological mirror. And not everyone likes what they see reflected back. In Jungian psychology, individuation, becoming whole, requires confrontation with truth. And when you are stable, you unconsciously invite this confrontation. Not by accusing, but by refusing to distort reality to preserve attachment. A man senses that if he loses you, he loses more than a relationship. He loses a reference point, someone who grounded him. Someone who did not consume him, but oriented him. Someone whose calm made his chaos obvious, and whose absence would leave him facing himself alone. This is why fear enters quietly, not as panic, but as realization. He realizes, you won't stay where you are diminished. You won't chase what withdraws. You won't replace self-respect with hope. And this realization tightens attachment far more than any emotional display ever could. Because now, love is no longer guaranteed. It is conditional on presence, maturity, and choice. You don't need to warn him. You don't need to threaten departure. Your way of being already communicates everything. And when a man understands that losing you means losing access to peace, depth, and emotional integrity, not drama, not supply, not validation, that is when he becomes careful. That is when he slows down. That is when he invests. That is when attachment becomes real. Not because you asked him to stay, but because he finally understands what leaving would cost. A man does not attach deeply to emotional intensity. He attaches to emotional safety. And safety does not mean predictability. It means grounding. Your calm nervous system becomes a place his psyche recognizes as rare. Not boring, not passive, but steady in a way that allows something deeper than excitement to form. When you are emotionally stable, you stop amplifying chaos. You don't escalate misunderstandings into crises. You don't dramatize distance. You don't turn uncertainty into panic. And this restraint does something powerful. It removes emotional noise. In that silence, a man begins to feel. He feels when he disappoints you, because you don't explode. He feels when he neglects you, because you don't pursue. He feels when he risks losing you, because you don't threaten, you recalibrate. This is where attachment roots itself. Because now his nervous system associates you with regulation, with balance, with an inner order he may not even have himself. And as Jung observed, we are drawn not only to those who mirror us, but to those who compensate for what we lack. Your self-respect creates a psychological anchor. He begins to regulate toward you, to adjust his behavior not out of fear, but out of alignment. Your presence becomes something he doesn't want to disturb. And here is the truth many women never hear. Men do not bond most strongly to women who fight for connection. They bond to women who hold connection. Holding does not mean gripping. It means remaining intact under pressure. You don't rush to define. You don't beg for clarity. You don't collapse when things slow down. And in that space, his attachment grows quietly, but deeply, because now he is investing not just in you, but in being the version of himself who deserves access to you. This is where fear of loss transforms into commitment. Not dramatic promises, not emotional declarations, but changed behavior, more presence, more thoughtfulness, more effort. Because a woman who is emotionally stable does not need to be convinced to stay. And that is exactly why a man becomes afraid to lose her. She doesn't bind him with control. She binds him with gravity. And once a man has oriented himself around that kind of presence, walking away is no longer simple. There is a moment when a man realizes something unsettling. You are no longer absorbing his confusion. You don't carry his indecision. You don't stabilize his chaos. You don't translate his immaturity into excuses. And this moment changes the entire dynamic. Many attachments are built on unconscious rescue contracts. The woman soothes, waits, explains, softens, endures. The man drifts, withdraws, returns, destabilizes. As long as you regulate for him, he never has to regulate himself. And therefore, he never truly bonds, he consumes. Your emotional stability breaks this contract. You stop doing emotional labor that does not belong to you. You listen, but you do not carry. You care, but you do not compensate. You stay present without becoming responsible for his inner world. And suddenly, he is alone with himself, in the healthiest, most confronting way. This is where fear appears. Not fear of abandonment, but fear of exposure. Because now, if he shows up half-hearted, it is visible. If he disappears, it has weight. If he avoids, it has consequence. You are no longer cushioning the impact of his behavior. And this is deeply destabilizing for a man who is used to women softening reality to keep connection alive. Your self-respect removes the emotional padding. What remains is truth, clean, quiet, unavoidable. As Jung observed, growth begins when projection ends. And when you stop carrying what is not yours, he is forced to confront what is his. His fears, his inconsistencies, his capacity or lack of it. Some men retreat at this stage. Others awaken, but none remain unchanged. Because now attachment is no longer effortless. It requires him to show up as a person, not a pattern. To engage consciously, not instinctively. To choose you, not lean on you. And this is where fear of loss sharpens. He realizes that if he does not grow, you will not stay stuck. If he does not mature, you will not wait. If he does not meet you, you will not descend. Not because you are cold, but because you are complete. And completeness is intimidating because it cannot be manipulated, rushed, or rescued. A woman who does not save a man from himself becomes the woman he either rises for or loses. And that awareness lingers in him long after conversations end. Because for the first time, staying with you is not about comfort. It is about becoming. A man becomes afraid to lose you when you stop trying to convince him of your value. The need to prove is subtle. It hides in overgiving, in explaining yourself too much, in showing patience beyond reason, in staying soft where firmness is required. And as long as you are proving, he is evaluating. He remains above the bond, unconsciously deciding, unconsciously delaying. But the moment you stop proving, the hierarchy collapses. You no longer demonstrate why you are worthy of staying. You no longer persuade him to see you. You no longer adjust yourself to be easier to love. And this shift is seismic. Your self-respect quietly relocates the center of gravity. The relationship no longer orbits his approval. It orbits your presence. And this is when attachment stops being casual and becomes existential. Because now, he feels something unfamiliar. He might not be enough. Not in a shaming way. In an awakening way. You don't announce this change. You don't explain it. It reveals itself in your restraint. In how you give less where effort is absent. In how you remain warm without being accessible to neglect. In how you no longer overextend to secure emotional safety. And this creates a specific psychological response in a man. He starts paying attention. He notices your pauses. He registers your limits. He senses your inner boundary. Firm, calm, unmoving. As Jung observed, when a person stops projecting their worth outward, others are forced to confront their own position internally. Your refusal to overprove places him face to face with his level of investment. And this is deeply unsettling, because now he must ask himself, am I showing up enough? Am I consistent enough? Am I mature enough to keep her? Before, the relationship relied on your effort. Now it depends on his. And this inversion is where fear of loss sharpens into attachment. Because suddenly, he understands something that cannot be unseen. You are not attached to the bond. You are attached to yourself. You will not shrink to be chosen. You will not beg to be kept. You will not barter your dignity for closeness. And when a man realizes that your presence is not maintained by hope, but by standards, something locks into place inside him. Because losing you would not mean losing affection. It would mean losing access to a woman who knows who she is. And that is not easily replaced. A man becomes truly afraid to lose you when he senses that you are no longer attached to outcomes. Not detached from him. Detached from needing things to go a certain way in order to feel whole. This is subtle, but powerful. You stop waiting for messages with anticipation. You stop imagining future scenarios to soothe the present. You stop emotionally investing ahead of reality. And when this happens, your energy shifts from expectation to presence. You are there, but not leaning forward. Interested, but not clinging. Open, but not dependent. And this neutrality destabilizes him more than anger ever could. Because outcome detachment removes leverage. He can no longer keep you engaged with ambiguity. He can no longer control the tempo through distance. He can no longer rely on hope to keep you emotionally available. Your self-respect rewires the dynamic. You are no longer asking, "Where is this going?" You are silently observing, "Is this meeting me?" And this internal question changes your posture. You are not auditioning for permanence. You are assessing compatibility. And for a man, this reversal is profound because now he feels evaluated. This is where fear of loss sharpens into awareness. He realizes, you won't wait indefinitely. You won't build fantasies alone. You won't attach to potential. You are grounded in what is. And grounding removes illusion. There is no emotional fog to hide behind. No endless patience to absorb stagnation. No overavailability to soften indecision. Your calm makes the present moment unavoidable. Men feel this immediately. They sense when a woman is no longer emotionally leaning on tomorrow, when she is fully located in today. And that presence makes absence costly. It makes delay risky. It makes inconsistency dangerous. Because now, every gap matters. Your self-respect communicates without words. I am not afraid of endings. I am aligned with truth. And this alignment creates fear, not panic, but urgency. The kind that compels clarity. The kind that demands movement. The kind that forces a man to decide whether he is stepping forward or stepping out. You don't pressure him to choose. You simply stop waiting for him to. And that is when he understands something irreversible. Losing you would not happen through drama. It would happen through inertia. And that is the most frightening loss of all. There is a particular kind of fear that does not come from conflict. It comes from calm finality. A man becomes afraid to lose you when he realizes that if it happens, it will not be loud. There will be no scenes, no ultimatums, no emotional storms announcing the end. It will happen quietly, through your withdrawal of investment, your redirection of energy, your return to self. And this is what makes it real. You don't punish. You don't demand. You don't warn. You simply stop offering what is not met. Your emotional stability allows you to detach without bitterness, without revenge, without needing him to understand. And this is deeply unsettling because it removes his ability to react later. There is no dramatic moment to fix, no argument to win, no apology to deploy at the last second. He feels the ground shifting under him. Your presence becomes lighter, but not colder. Your attention becomes selective, not withdrawn. Your affection becomes responsive, not automatic. And suddenly, he senses that the relationship is no longer being held together by your endurance. It is being held together, or not, by his consistency. This is where fear turns inward. Because now, if he loses you, he cannot tell himself a story about misunderstanding or bad timing. He knows exactly why it happened. He felt the moment when your energy stopped compensating for his gaps. As Jung would say, the psyche cannot escape a truth that has been fully perceived. Once a man feels this shift, he cannot unfeel it. Even if he avoids it, it remains in the background, a quiet pressure asking him to rise. Your self-respect has made the relationship honest. And honesty is terrifying to those who were relying on emotional noise to delay accountability. He realizes, you are not attached to keeping him at all costs. You are not afraid of standing alone. You are not staying out of fear. You are staying, if you stay, out of alignment. And this realization awakens something heavy and unmistakable inside him. If I lose her, it will be because I did not show up. No one to blame. No chaos to hide behind. No drama to soften the truth. Just consequence. And consequence is what turns emotional attachment into real fear of loss. Because it is final, clean, and earned. Your calm makes endings possible. And that is exactly why he becomes careful not to cause one. What finally makes a man afraid to lose you is not the possibility of pain. It is the certainty of truth. By the time your self-respect is fully embodied, there is no confusion left in the bond. No emotional bargaining. No hidden contracts. No silent suffering disguised as loyalty. You are no longer trying to hold the relationship together with hope. You are allowing it to reveal what it truly is. And this is the most powerful position a woman can occupy. You are not attached to being chosen. You are attached to being true. Your emotional stability has done something irreversible. It has removed illusion. And once illusion dissolves, love must either deepen or dissolve with it. There is no middle ground. A man feels this clarity in his body before he understands it in words. He senses that you are no longer negotiating with fear, that you are not afraid of losing him. You are only unwilling to lose yourself. And this creates a profound internal reckoning. Because now, staying with you requires presence. It requires consistency. It requires growth. And leaving means losing access to a woman who offered something rare. Not endless patience, not emotional supply, but integrity. As Carl Jung understood, real connection is born only when two individuals stand fully in themselves. Not fused, not dependent, not diminished, but whole. And wholeness is demanding. It does not tolerate half-effort or unconscious attachment. This is why your self-respect changes the outcome regardless of what happens. If he rises, the bond becomes real. If he doesn't, the ending becomes clean. No regret, no self-betrayal, no wondering what more you could have done, because you did not abandon love. You refined it, and that refinement is what makes a man afraid to lose you. Not because you trapped him, but because you showed him what it costs to walk away from a woman who knows her worth. This is not control. This is gravity. And gravity does not chase. It simply holds, or releases, with dignity.